Welcome to my channel. This is the Diamond Chrysalis, aka Divested Diamonds. This is Divestment with Purpose, and you have arrived. Greetings and salutations, ladies. Thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for being here today. Please do me a favor and click the like button as you watch this video. Thank you kindly. Welcome back to part 2 of a much needed conversation where we take an in-depth look into certain celebrity situations and see what we can learn from them. These videos are not meant to shame these women for getting into these unfortunate situations. They are meant as a lesson, a teaching moment, if you will, a cautionary tale on what not to do and what to look out for when similar situations occur in our own lives. In this video, we're going to be discussing Jodie Turner-Smith and Joshua Jackson's impending divorce and their journey to date in this short-lived marriage. Later on, I'll be addressing another under-the-bridge dweller comment from someone who feels and strongly believes that divestors are jealous of white women, but especially those who date black men. We'll discuss that and more, but first, Jodie Turner-Smith and Joshua Jackson. So, for those of you who are unfamiliar with Joshua Jackson, well, he's a Canadian actor who's mostly known for his late 90s, early 2000s TV show called Dawson's Creek. The show was on television from 1998 to 2003. Apart from that, we really hadn't heard much from him until he started his relationship with Jodie Turner-Smith. Now, Jodie Turner-Smith is a model and actress. Not quite a household name just yet, but the camera does love her, and she's graced the covers of Ebony, Elle, The Hollywood Reporter, Vogue, etc. She's British with Caribbean roots, and as you can see, a very beautiful woman. When these two got together, a lot of people celebrated and noted how it was great to see Black women opening their dating and marriage options, and indeed it is. For me personally, body language is important when it comes to assessing these types of situations. He didn't come off as enthusiastic as she did about their relationship, in my opinion. At the time, I thought, well, maybe his reserved nature might have had something to do with it. It wasn't until he appeared on the Jimmy Fallon show back in 2021 that it all finally made sense to me. He revealed for the first time that Jodie had been the one who proposed to him when they got engaged. Now, that information wasn't necessarily the issue. It was the way he went about it that had me and a lot of other people kind of giving him the side eye. When it comes to such matters, other races of women are given a lot more grace for their actions than Black women are. Had they taken their time to get to know each other and understanding the complexities of interracial dating or marriage, he would have been a little more cognizant of that fact and perhaps found a way to strategically answer those questions. Joshua then proceeded to tell the story of where he and Jodie were when she popped the question, noting that he wasn't expecting her to propose. He said, and I quote, "I didn't know, but she was quite adamant," he expressed before holding his ring up and adding, "She was right. This is the best choice I ever made." End quote. Now, let's examine this for a moment. I did not know, but she was quite adamant. Let's explore this word and what it really means, because words really do matter. And sometimes when people speak, pay attention to the subtleties. Adamant. According to Merriam-Webster, the meaning of adamant is unshakable or insistent, especially in maintaining a position or opinion. Unyielding. In other words, stubborn. So what I got from what he'd said was that this woman was determined to marry him no matter what. In a way, he made it sound as though she cornered him and he had no choice but to accept the proposal. This was a man who, for whatever reason, was on a hiatus from acting, and here comes this woman, right? Here comes an opportunity to settle down, presented on a silver platter by this beautiful woman. He's getting up in age, possibly trying to revive his career. You have a woman who appears to love the limelight. Why not give it a chance? You see, people do all kinds of things for many different reasons, and it worked like a charm for the most part. This marriage gave him visibility once again because, let's face it, who was checking for Joshua Jackson beyond Dawson's Creek? And I'm not saying this out of malice or disrespect. This is just an observation. You see, a lot of Black women have the tendency to revive men's careers, create careers for men, or take care of them. Sometimes they will introduce randos to us using their clout, like Tamar Braxton did. All of a sudden, he was getting more interest from Hollywood directors and producers such as Steven Spielberg. He even appeared in the latest adaptation of the 1987 movie Fatal Attraction, and even better, this is now a television series, which means a steady, regular paycheck for him. That is, of course, until it gets canceled. So the question here is, would he have had a second chance at his career had it not been for his relationship with Jodie Turner-Smith? What I heard in that interview with Jimmy Fallon was a man harboring some sort of resentment, whether consciously or subconsciously, for a woman who had taken his ability to perform a masculine role away from him, hence the microaggressions. He may not have had the courage to say no to her, but he sure as hell wasn't going to take responsibility for it. Let me explain. If someone were to ask him, why her? All he would have had to say in that moment is, well, she's the one who proposed to me, and I couldn't find it in my heart to say no. Plus, she's great arm candy. She brings attention to both of them by her appearance alone, so why not bask in the limelight? It's an ego boost, right? This is tantamount to some of those public proposals that some people make when they create this grand gesture or a spectacle in front of a group of people when they ask someone to marry them. Depending on how you feel about that person, it's hard to just turn around and say no. You're almost pressured to say yes for fear of embarrassing them, embarrassing yourself, and so you go along just for show. The oohs and ahs from onlookers puts your heart in a melting state, and for a moment, you're caught up in the fantasy of happily ever after as well, because of that grand gesture. Years later, when you're signing those divorce papers, you can't help but take a trip down memory lane to that moment and finally realize that perhaps you fell in love with the idea of being in love and not the actual person. Now, do I think that Joshua Jackson wanted to get married? I'd have to say no. I strongly believe he was pressured into it. He had come this far in life without being married or having children. I think he was fine. He'd also been in a previous relationship with Diane Kruger. the German actress from Inglourious Basterds. And they were together for an entire decade. He didn't marry her, and they had no children together, even though they did try at some point unsuccessfully. Now, it's hard to say for sure whether or not marriage was something she really wanted while in the relationship with Joshua Jackson, but her decisions after the breakup of their relationship seemed to suggest so. In an article published by The Independent, the actress reflected on her long-term relationship with Jackson, whom she split from in 2016. As I previously mentioned, after a decade of dating, she spoke to Caroline Stanbury on her Divorce Not Dead podcast. Now, some of you may remember Caroline from the Bravo reality show, Ladies of London, if you ever watched that. Personally, I enjoyed it. But anyway, while on the podcast, Diane, who didn't mention her ex by name, expressed how she felt ready to have a child in her mid-30s, which is when she was dating the Dawson's Creek star. She said that while she wanted to start a family with her ex prior to their breakup, she later became open to the idea of having a child by herself. Personally, I think that she had realized that this relationship was going nowhere, and eventually she would have had to go it alone. But that's just my opinion. Diane is now in a relationship with Norman Reedus. Some of you may recognize him from the TV show The Walking Dead. According to People, Reedus and Kruger met on the set of the 2015 movie Sky and went public with their relationship in March of 2017. You can actually see an overlap in the end of her relationship with Joshua Jackson and the beginning of this relationship with Norman Reedus. And I'll tell you why. I personally believe that she had checked out of her situationship with Jackson when she met Reedus, and that's why this comes across as a swift and easy transition into the next relationship. Reedus and Kruger welcomed a daughter named Nova in 2018. See, she broke up with Jackson in 2016. By 2018, her dream of being a mother had come true. And in August of 2021, they confirmed their engagement to People. So what it looks like to me is that Joshua Jackson is a possible commitment-phobe who couldn't care less about marriage or children. I feel as though Jodie Turner-Smith may have known this about him, but probably thought that she could change him. Most women tend to do that, and that's a delusional mindset to have. If marriage and children are what you want, it's important to align yourself with someone who wants the same. You cannot turn the man that you want, the man that you have chosen, into your dream man if he's not the man of your dreams. It never works out. That's why it wasn't shocking to me when she filed for divorce. She probably got fed up of expecting certain things from him that he naturally could not deliver. I don't know why, but I get the feeling that he's lazy in relationships. You know, the kind of guy who just goes along to get along. The type who doesn't fulfill you at all, doesn't go out of his way to make you feel special. He just gives me lazy vibes. But that's just my opinion. The thing here is, they hadn't known each other for that long before deciding to tie the knot. They first met at a party in 2018 and secretly got married in 2019, then welcomed their first child together, a daughter, shortly after. She got pregnant only 6 months after proposing to him. Let me repeat that. She got pregnant 6 months after proposing to him. Now, make of that what you will. I don't know. There might be something to explore there. Why was she in such a hurry? Why the rush? One thing that we all need to understand is that men and women are different. I know, right? No one would have ever guessed. The way that women look at love and relationships is very different from how men view them. I think it's easier for women to fall in love than it is for men. Most men don't even know what that means. This is why certain decisions, such as marriage, for instance, must be left in the hands of men. Now, I know that we live in a progressive society where women think that they can do everything that men can do. And that is true up to a point. But here's the thing. It's okay for men to have their own thing and vice versa. Societally, we've been taught that men are the ones who are the gatekeepers of marriage. And honestly, they are. And that's okay. When you look at nature, it's the males who put on a show for the females in order to be picked. The male literally has to audition for female approval. Human beings are the same. Well, at least they should be. Taking the opportunity of a proposal away from a man does breed some level of resentment in certain men. He may have said yes to you under the guise of love, but deep down, he will find a way to somehow use that against you. Women need to create a balance for themselves and learn to pull back when it comes to certain things. When you go out of your way to pursue a man by doing all of the things that he should be doing, what's left for him to do? When I was younger, I would often hear these older women say, "Don't get married to a man you're head over heels for." When a woman loves a man more than she's loved by him, it never works out. Now, what they meant by that was that women tend to lose themselves when overly in love in relationships and marriage. Loving your man is not necessarily the issue here. It's not a bad thing at all, obviously. However, being in a relationship with someone you have overwhelming love for, while the same isn't being reciprocated, can lead to a lopsided relationship, and nobody wants that. Marrying a man who loves you just a little bit more than you love them can offset that balance. It's okay to express how you feel about a man, but the mistake that a lot of women make is by exposing the entire strength of their love to that person up front. A lot of these relationship gurus only ever preach to women about the importance of being open and honest by exposing your entire being. But I beg to differ. Once a man knows all that you're working with, they will use that to their advantage and also use it against you. This happens with quote unquote good men as well as the bad ones. Men understand the art of self-preservation more than women. This is why women need not expose their entire beings by losing themselves in relationships and offering everything to a man. We need to get into the habit of gauging whatever he's giving and matching his energy. Don't abuse yourself in the process of loving someone else. As long as you're giving, he'll continue to take. This is not about playing games. It's about understanding your own strength when it comes to the art of love. You need to give him something to look forward to and not make him so comfortable to just simply expect it. Failure to that. Most men will get lazy and just take you for granted. Men and women don't look at love and relationships in the same way. As a woman, it's important to understand where your strength lies and operate from that vantage point. This is why most men want you to be submissive, because when you relinquish all of your power to them, they are able to read you like a book and manipulate you from your own blueprint. But I digress. When you choose him and he doesn't choose you, he may exhibit certain behaviors that he'd expect you to accept because, as far as he's concerned, this is what you wanted, right? This is why he didn't have a problem telling the world that she's the one who took on the masculine position, the masculine art of proposal. Now, we can all sit here and complain about the manner in which he went about exposing it. But as far as he was concerned, it was the truth, was it not? She chose him, and he went along for the ride. And unfortunately, what that does with a lot of men is it gives them a certain level of entitlement in relationships to take liberties. And I'm not saying that this is exactly what happened in their case, but this is normally what happens. I just want women to be mindful of this. If you're going to take matters into your own hands and propose to a man, please understand that your overenthusiasm may eclipse the amount of efforts that they put into the relationship, especially if they had no intention of marrying you in the first place. In an interview in April of this year, Joshua said that he initially did not see himself getting married or having kids, but that he and Jodie would, and I quote, spend every moment together and find reasons to be in other cities together at the same time, end quote, when they first met. It sounds to me like their sexual chemistry was off the charts, and perhaps she translated those fun moments, those fun times, into happily ever after. He, on the other hand, sounds like he was just going with the flow and riding it out for as long as he could. No pun intended. According to Jodie's own admission, their relationship started with a one-night stand. She said, quote, I did not show my hand at all when we first met. I saw him before he saw me, and when I saw him, I was like, I want that. And then when he saw me, I just pretended I didn't see him, end quote. She has also admitted to being a fan of Dawson's Creek and how, of course, she's hashtag Team Pacey. But she didn't let Joshua in on that fact when they first met. The date of their separation is listed as September 13th. However, a few days prior, on September 7th, the two were seen together posing arm in arm at a press event. My conclusion here is that it was all fun and games in the beginning, running around in different places, enjoying each other's company, but when she realized that Joshua Jackson, aka Pacey, from Dawson's Creek, wasn't really what she thought he would be, the fantasy started crumbling. The novelty wore off. I mean, it's not like the foundation of their marriage was built on depth. It all started off as a fling, which transitioned into a marriage, and somewhere along the way, things just weren't what she thought they would be. The reason for their divorce is the same as it ever was with a lot of these celebrities. Irreconcilable differences. Well, I hope they can find a way to co-parent without drama and maybe later move on to much better and healthier relationships. She reportedly doesn't want spousal support for either her or Jackson, with the pair not having a prenup in place. Joshua is allegedly, or at least he was, quote unquote, not thrilled about the termination of his marriage while insisting that there was no foul play involved and that the union had simply run its course. Okay, well, good luck to both of them. Now, I'm not sure how this alleged relationship with Lupita Nyong'o fits into all of this. But this is messy. And for those of you who haven't seen our community post, you will find all the info regarding Joshua Jackson and Lupita Nyong'o's alleged relationship. All I can say at this point is good luck to all those involved. Now, let's move on to the comment section. So, if you ladies remember, I did a few posts on Pearl Davis, aka Just Pearly Things, a while ago. I did an entire video in which I pointed out her disrespect towards Black people and how she'd come up with these plantation-style contracts for her Black employees over in the UK. I also pointed out how this was all the Black manosphere's fault, aka the Bussosphere, because their pedestalization of whiteness made it possible for Pearl to be the queen of the Black manosphere, which I thought was hilarious. Anyway, I got a comment underneath this post from someone calling themselves Mo Enlightened, who said, "The more divestors I see, the more I realize Black women are jealous of white women. I'm certain Pearly has treated this guy better than any Black woman will ever do. White women are really good women." Now, for the purpose of this conversation, and to make sure that the right individual was addressed, I decided to go on a quest to find out just exactly what kind of person we were dealing with here. I wanted to know whether this was written by a Black woman or a white woman. That is why I asked you ladies to help me out in the community tab. I deliberately left out the possibility of it being a Black male or a king. But a lot of you pointed out that it very well may have been a Black male. Because based on how this was written, this is how a lot of them talk. And ladies, I think you're right. I looked at this person's channel and they claim to be in Sweden. At first I thought, well, that could be a lie. There are a lot of people out there who lie about their location, especially those who are in war-torn countries but still have access to the internet. Most are ashamed to say exactly where they are. For example, I know Nigeria is not a war-torn country. However, 419 scammers do it all the time. Everything they do and say on the internet is insidious and clandestine. A lot of these people normally want to give off the facade that they are in a richer country in order for those scams to succeed. Anyway, my suspicions were confirmed in terms of identifying this male. I had a feeling he wasn't a Black American male, but someone of a different ethnicity from another continent. At first I thought, could he be Asian? South Asian? Because when I looked at their channel, their taste in music pretty much gave them away. And I know people are not a monolith, but this is not typically what a Black male would normally listen to. I scanned through their channel for clues, and it's amazing what can be exposed just by sifting through someone's likes, playlists, and interests. Based on their love of music, I came to the conclusion that this was definitely, most definitely, an African man. And if I were to gauge how old they were, I would have to say it's between the ages of 35 and 40, possibly older. Upon further investigation, I have reason to believe that this is a male of Somali descent, and more specifically, the state of Puntland in northeastern Somalia. Now, I came to this conclusion based on a couple of subscriptions and videos posted to their channel. And I know for a fact that English is not their first language, and they're not of this culture. Now, do I think that they live in Europe? Most likely. Sweden does have a sizable Somali community made up of migrants, asylum seekers, and that sort of thing. One thing I've come to learn about a lot of these people is that they hate Black Americans, and any chance that they can get to belittle or look down upon us, they will take it and gladly. I've listened to several different live streams in which I've seen and heard problematic things about Black people in this country, and a lot of them have no issues disrespecting Black American women. So this doesn't surprise me one little bit. And it's not just the Black American thing that they have an issue with. It's Blackness in general. Most of them will spout a lot of anti-Black sentiment because most, not all, most of them don't see themselves as Black.
I don't care if I'm the first person to say this, but us Somalis are not Black. There's a difference between African and Black. Let me ask you a question. Are Moroccans and Egyptians Black? Tradition, our history, our culture are so much more different compared to these other countries that are actually Black. Josh Bill, if you're not Black, what are you? I'm Somali. Let me ask you a question. If you were to see a very dark Indian man, would he be identified as a Black person or just an Indian?
Bro, come on, bro. You're making me really look bad. Man, what the hell wrong with you, man? These children are crazy up in here. Listen, bro. If you have black skin color, you are Black. You don't see my face. You don't see your own face. What's going on? Somalis are Black. They are both African and Black. They are African because Somalia is in Africa. And they are Black because we have black skin color. Black is not an... Being Black is not a race. It's not an ethnicity. It's a skin color. So if you have black skin color, you are Black. I don't care what country you're from. India, Pakistan, Tajikistan. I don't care. It does not matter. If you have black skin color, you are just Black. You cannot decide what skin color you have. You just have it. And that's it. These people you are showing and saying, these Moroccans Black? These are not native Moroccans or Egyptians. These are the native Moroccans. Have you ever seen them? These are the native Egyptians. You don't see, and you will never see them because they don't show. They will never show you. You don't understand what's going on in this world. You're just talking. Learn. Don't just talk. Learn. Somalis are Black, and ethnically they are part of Cushitic group. Afar, Oromo, Somalis, all this group. This guy is from Afar. It's an Afar guy. These guys are Oromos. I am a Somali. Do you see the difference? I don't. So I don't understand what you guys are trying to find. You are just trying to be someone else. You just trying to be Arabs or something else. I don't understand what's going on up in here.
Apparently, he can't tell the difference between race, ethnicity, and nationality. He needs to debate that with the cops and see what happens. The delusion is real. As for some of their women, a lot of them are texturists and featurists, and they really do believe that they are better than other Black women. So back to this guy. This is why he commented on this post and made the entire thing about race, even though it wasn't. And how about this fake preacher who took time out of his day to lie to these people about Black Americans while making a blanket statement derived from stereotypes? According to him, we are all products of one-night stands. Take a listen.
Most of the people that we meet, especially African Americans, they don't even know their fathers. They don't even know their fathers. It was all of them, most of them were the product of one night stand. One night stand.
To those who don't know, this is a Somali man named Saeed that preaches Islam and is well respected in the Somali community. For some reason during one of his lectures he decided to bring up African Americans unprovoked and say how most African Americans don't know our fathers and are the products of one-night stands, which is very disrespectful and uncalled for. But did any Somalis call him out on his bullshit? No. In fact, you can see them in the crowd laughing as if what he said was funny and amusing. This is a very common mindset amongst Somalis, and it needs to be addressed. Cause imagine if AAs came online mocking how 75% of Somalis live in poverty, and is one of the poorest nations on earth, or that the average Somali only has an IQ of 68. I'm pretty sure y'all would not like that, and it would be tons of outrage. Please start checking y'all folks and keeping them in line, because this is ridiculous.
So the reason I'm showing you these videos is to highlight the kind of mindset we're dealing with here. Uninformed and ignorant. Now, I'm not saying that all Somali people behave this way, but it appears the majority do. These people are racist, even to other African people. And when you go online, there are countless videos of them just being nasty to other Black people. But I have long since digressed. Anyway, I responded to this individual, and this is what I had to say. This is not about white women. I personally don't have an issue with white women in general. I never have. This is about Pearl, one white woman. What are you talking about? Jealousy is not a thing around these parts. It's like comparing apples to oranges. That's not a thing, sweetheart. Nobody here cares that Black men are dating or marrying white women. Matter of fact, we encourage that on this channel. Black men are free to be with whomever they want because we don't want them in that sense. Pearl is unattractive, and so is her ex-boyfriend. What's there to be jealous of, ma'am? That's a rhetorical question, by the way. Yeah, I called this individual ma'am because at first glance, I thought it was a woman caping for Pearl. That was before I did a little digging to find out just what kind of clown we were dealing with. So let's tackle the question. Are Black women jealous of white women? No, let me rephrase that. Are divested Black women jealous of white women? The answer would have to be absolutely not. Being divested means you've come into your own as a woman. Truly divested women start off with a blank canvas, a clean slate. They analyze their own existence and pinpoint where improvements need to be made and begin to work on themselves from that vantage point. Nothing holds you more accountable for your own actions and your own life than being a divested Black woman. Everything about your life has to be addressed in order for you to be successful at it. And it mostly begins by decentering men. The only way to start anew is to go it alone. And once you've reached the pinnacle of healing, only then do you start adding what you need back into your life. As a divested Black woman, competing for the male gaze, but especially being quote-unquote jealous of, in this case, white women who date Black men, shouldn't and doesn't cross your mind at any given point. You can't be divested if rage or jealousy is something you feel. When you see Pookie, Ray Ray, Quantavious, Tyrone with a white woman or any woman of another race. So no, white women don't live in divested women's minds rent-free. We are not jealous of these unions, nor are we thinking about them. Personally, I couldn't care less what Tyrone does or with whom, but especially how he chooses to live his life, as long as he's not abusing and deleting Black women and girls. Other than that, I truly don't give a shit. Now, let's discuss the real reason why this individual made those accusations and why they thought that it was appropriate to accuse divestors of being jealous of white women. This right here was the reason that they got triggered. Now, let's talk about why I posted that picture of Pearl and her ex-boyfriend. The reason I posted that picture of Pearl and her ex-boyfriend was to highlight how hypocritical this unpickable pick-me really is. She's always talking about women being fat, calling women whales, when she herself is not the epitome of beauty, nor is she the standard of fitness. Sorry, not sorry. If you're going to take a negative public stance on the appearance of others, I think it's only fair you get critiqued as well. She really doesn't have a leg to stand on when she herself is built like a soapbox. Sorry, not sorry. You can't be rating people's attractiveness based on numbers when, by your own logic, you don't exceed 4, if we're being brutally honest. Do you hear how ridiculous that sounds? And as far as her quote-unquote high-value ex was concerned, the guy was a burger and some fries away from a heart attack. But yet, she considered him quote-unquote high value because being quote-unquote high value in the red pill community just means having money. My other observation when it comes to this so-called community is that there's this emphasis on working out, basically looks maxing. And for those who don't know what that means, I'll put it up on the screen. So they emphasize on getting your finances in order and then being able to get any woman, right? Pearl has never practiced any of what she preaches because she went into this relationship with a guy who didn't have a home. He had money, but no home. He had money and clout, but no home. She saw an opportunity to make a name for herself using Tyrone's social media clout. She moved him into mommy and daddy's home. And when she was done harvesting some of that clout, she dropped him like a hot potato. The guy wasn't ready to let her go. He wasn't ready for the relationship to be over. She's now 27 years old, allegedly, and her attempts to be quote-unquote famous by any means necessary have backfired because she's toxic. There's nothing authentic about her. She's a grifter, a wannabe, a liar, and the ultimate pick-me. For some reason, she thinks that by going against women and spewing poisonous rhetoric, she's somehow going to be picked, but that still hasn't happened. She's online saying how women shouldn't vote and continues to pedestalize males over women, and it's completely insane. If she only used that energy to better herself, she would probably be in a better place today. But because she craves the one thing she's not able to have, a man, she will always continue to self-sabotage. I actually feel sorry for her, if I'm being honest, because I've never ever seen anyone so pathetic. Here's what she had to say on Piers Morgan.
That's why I want divorce to be banned.
Yeah.
Can I finish
Yeah.
first? So I'm saying, the people that believe in divorce, go be in long-term relationships. Leave marriage for the people that actually believe in for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health, till death do us part.
But doesn't the sanctity of marriage also rely on the woman being a virgin? So you wouldn't be able to get married?
What do you mean?
Well, you've spoken quite openly about how you're not a virgin, and so if you want to preserve that sanctity of marriage, then I just think that you're upholding standards that you don't actually live by.
And that's a fair complaint. I wish I was, but we can't go back. I don't know what you want me to say.
No, but I just don't think it's fair that you get to be here and you get to be paid for your views, and you're telling other women that they shouldn't be allowed to.
Can someone please throw her a bone? Anything. Some Scooby snacks, perhaps. I mean, this woman works hard for you males out there. Why are you not picking her? Is it because she's a redhead? Is it because her skin always looks parched? Why won't you pick her? Please, I'm begging you. Someone, there's got to be somebody out there who is able to put up with her. Please, I'm begging you. Take her off the internet. And then, of course, let's not forget that infamous tweet of her saying, is it better for a 16-year-old woman to get married or stay single until 21? What? A 16-year-old what? She's literally taking a page out of these perverts' book with this nonsense. A 16-year-old is not a woman. And the crazy part is, she doesn't stop to think just how problematic that is. Her desperate need for attention is the reason that she keeps doing these things. Again, always saying outlandish things, hoping to get attention. She's the last person that anyone should be going to for relationship advice. But here we are. All these losers just want a dose of that red pill orgasm. It's pathetic and it's sad. Pearl has made a lot of enemies with her dangerous, unfiltered talk, and this is why she got demonetized by YouTube. In her bid to push the envelope for shock value, she had the audacity to interview underage kids between the ages of 14 and 16, talking to them about sex and check the screen. This woman is not okay. She would actually do well to invest that time, effort, energy into therapy. Pearl Davis is not okay. And of course, being the daredevil that she is, she was clever enough to post that video onto her YouTube channel until the parents and relatives of those kids asked her to take it down. But in true Pearl fashion, did she listen? Oh no, that would be too much. She stuck her fingers in her ears and started singing la 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 la, completely ignoring their requests. When her YouTube money went bye-bye, only then did she pay attention to this issue. After being demonetized, she then pretended not to know why this had happened. As always, no accountability. The same accountability that she keeps forcing down women's throats could not be found. So, what would Pearl do in moments like these? Yes, you guessed it. She took to social media to complain. I was just demonetized on YouTube with no strikes, zero warning, and zero explanation. Help. What's going on? And YouTube responded saying, hey, we're looking into this right now for you, and we'll circle back once we have more info to share. And remember those kids she interviewed about inappropriate stuff? Inappropriate topics? Well, the sister of one of those girls said this: at Pearly Things, stopped my 15-year-old sister and her school friends on the street to ask them invasive questions about sex on her at YouTube channel. She made several cut downs of the video and has subjected them to abuse from the #Red Pill community. I keep telling you, Pearl Davis is not okay. This is so disgusting, but she's obsessed with being widely known for whatever reason. I mean, she has spoken about how slaves had good relationships with their owners. Who does that? Are we going to ignore Stockholm Syndrome? She is absolutely diabolical. So I really don't want to see any Somalian pirates in the comments section talking to me about how divestors are jealous of white women. No one, and I mean no one, in their right mind would ever be jealous of Pearl, even though she thinks that people are. She's delusional. I really do feel sorry for her because I know she needs help. This is sad. This is a sad, no life having pygmy who one day may have to succumb to life as a loner because nobody wants to pick her. It's different if or when a woman chooses to be alone. Sadly for her, being alone and single are not choices for her. This is not something she's choosing to do. It's something that will happen to her because she keeps spreading poison in a desperate bid to be picked. Pearl, the unpickable pick-me. Ain't that right, Excluding?
Get out, excludee! We don't want you in here.
And to all you Bussosphere males who made videos calling Tamar Braxton and Jodie Turner-Smith divested, well, it shows your ignorance, doesn't it? It shows your ignorance and how much you know. Dating or marrying out does not automatically make you a divester. It's weird. Don't you find it strange? It's extremely weird how you are so obsessed with a group of women that you claim not to like. This celebration of broken interracial relationships shows how low vibrational a lot of you are. The fact that you hold these relationships to such a high standard shows your own inferiority complex. When two humans, regardless of race, get together, there's always a possibility it might not work out. So what if things don't work out? You have two people having a human experience, and part of that experience includes not being perfect. When Black women date or marry out and things don't work out, why is it always a time of celebration for the majority of you? A lot of you are rotten to the core and miserable. And what it really boils down to is the fact that you never want to see Black women happy and getting ahead in life. Most of you provide single motherhood, STDs, pain, misery, and poverty shamelessly and quite comfortably. Other races of men may not be perfect, and no one's saying that they are. They have issues too, but the difference between you and them is that at least they understand the importance of men and women having a symbiotic relationship with each other. What do you have to offer? Toxic relationships? Poverty pain? Fatherless homes? Black femicide? And parasitic energy? See, I feel underappreciated. I've been supporting you, Black males. I was here supporting y'all. I encouraged you to get your passports and leave. Because the truth here is Black women don't need you. Black women don't need you. They never have. They were simply conditioned to idolize majority of you because the truth about your lack of survival skills and mental strength was something that a lot of you could not contend with. Hence the pacification of the Black male. You've been lied to, and it was all done out of desperation for a lot of these women, just so the so-called community could appear to have male influence. It's all been a lie. But hey, I got good news for you. Maybe, just maybe, Filipina P will take you. I mean, look, pick-me's are really what you need. She absolutely fits the bill. She's another one of these pick-me's who thinks Western women are delusional for choosing sanity over toxic relationships. So go, fetch her. My advice to you is go fetch her. I'm sure she'll be happy to see you. I'm sure she'll be happy to have you. On that note, what are your thoughts on what's been discussed here today? Please leave your thoughts and comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And remember, ladies, the more you elevate in life, the more people want to bring you down. It's incomprehensible for certain people to believe that divestment does not involve jealousy as it pertains to Black males and who they choose to end up with. We are, without a doubt, above all of that. And the focus is self-preservation without apology. Live, love, and enjoy life, and concentrate on your journey. Thank you so much for watching. This is Divestment with Purpose. I'm the Diamond Chrysalis. Divest like a butterfly, and I'll see you next time. Bye, diamonds.